Hello, and today we'll continue with Eden's Reach. I slowly drift off deep into my own mind, where all I see is endless darkness. Normally, whenever I see, normally whenever I have moments like these, I'm remembered. I slowly drift off deep into my own mind, where all I see is endless darkness. Normally, whenever I have moments like these, I'm rendered completely helpless while a horrid nightmare creeps in. I can't even form any cognitive thought during those times, as I seem to simply exist as a witness to the conjured images being laid out before me. This time, however, I manage to think and contemplate coherently despite being fully aware that I'm still sound asleep. Nothing morbid comes to even reveal itself from this void too. It's oddly tranquil, yet there's still this unsettling feeling that never seems to leave my abstract being. Is this a moment for me to think to myself? I suppose I really haven't had the time to sit down and think about everything that's happened. Alright then, let's do this. Honest heart nods before we stop. It seems like our respective rooms are across from each other. How convenient. After I reveal myself those words, after I tell myself those words, the void melts and readjusts itself into the image of the midnight sun's base main hall. It's quite fuzzy and muddled, especially in the edges of my own vision though. It seems like whatever I think of comes to life here. Is this what lucid dreaming is like? I remember Dylan telling me a lot about it and how fun and exhilarating these experiences can be. Since I'm here anyway, I suppose I'll go ahead and indulge myself. This is certainly a lot less detailed than the real thing, but I can clearly tell that over there is Alice's usual workstation with all the panels floating around. It's all jumbled up though, with some screens overlapping and her main panel being in a chaotic arrangement of different shortcuts and folders. By the sofa set on the other end of the room, there's a coffee table filled with candy wrappers. No, they're too big to be just wrappers. If only I could go get a closer look. And just like that, the scenery zooms in onto the coffee table. I'm then able to take a closer look at the wrappers. These are milk chocolate cubes from a famous manufacturer too. It's a shame I can't eat them for being a canine. Apparently, canines as well can eat chocolate. I wonder who eats this many chocolates anyway. Can't be Max, could it? I'd rather a meteor shower would hit Bayline City right now than believe that. Maybe Oswald, but he's a canine too. Oswald, his likeness appears before me, simply standing there with that signature smile of his gentle gaze meets me, never breaking eye contact as his face flushes red, hard. Everyone else seems to be wary, even hostile towards me, except you. Why are you so different? Your kindness and concern, where does it come from? Out of nowhere, out of everyone I've encountered in this waking nightmare, you just seem to be the greatest mystery of them all. I still slowly from my deep sleep, feeling neither light nor heavy. It's as if my whole body's gone numb and confused, not knowing what to feel. Was a real experience. I can still see the faint silhouette of the hungry wolf in my vision, but it quickly disappears as soon as I take notice. I try to take my surroundings in slowly, once more, still the same, slightly dusty and more empty room. I then decide to check the time on my phone once blood starts properly circulating through my entire body again. It's way later in the afternoon. Wouldn't someone have woken me up by now? I worriedly jump out of bed and rush towards the hallway, my heart steadily sinking, feeling as if I've done something wrong again. The door slides open and I run through at full speed, not even being aware of my surroundings. What meets me on the other side is a tall figure that I bump into, knocking me off balance before I fall flat on my face. Yeah. What in the... I quickly pick myself back up and look hurriedly at what I bumped into. Much to my surprise, it was Benji, who's holding rolls of some kind of material, some of which are currently on the floor. I do not want to have another altercation with him. The last thing I need is for both my ears to be bandaged. You should really watch where you're going, you know? He gives me a mischievous smirk while he keeps his eyes on me. I size us in up. Yep, I'm aware. If strangers were to see you like that, they think you were a lunatic. Benji moves toward my other side, giggling like an asshole. So, you think I'm a lunatic? Oh, please, you make it sound like we're complete strangers. But we are, though. Benji chuckles to himself. My, so cold and hostile. Where even is that coming from? Tell that to the bandit's ear. I swear, what is it with this guy? God, so, but I don't have time for this. I'm late. Late for what, exactly? The training or something. I don't know. Just leave me alone. I start walking away from Benji when Benji suddenly stops me in my tracks. Training? From who? Oswald? Who else? Benji doesn't bother to stifle his chuckle anymore. He instead grabs my shoulder, causing my entire being to flinch. Well, before you go and make a fool of yourself, I have to mention that Oswald isn't going to be here for the majority of the day. He has work today. But what work? Oh, I don't know, the bar. They have alternating work days. I don't like what that insinuates. Well, you don't believe me, you can ask him on the way. Oh, and Benji makes audible sniffling noises before continuing. Wait, did he just sniff me? You need a shower. When was the last time you cleaned yourself? 2 days ago. Unacceptable. Come with me. The showers are this way. Benji begins to pace away from me. I take a moment to sniff myself and, oh geez, I really do need a bath. I hesitantly follow the raccoon, covering any of my stinky parts on the way there. We reach the entrance to the showers shortly. The faint trickling of pouring water echoes across the walls. It seems like some people are already in. Best be quick about the rinse, then. I don't want to encounter anyone in their birthday suit, after all. You can throw your clothes in a hamper over there. Towels are over there, and anything you might need for the shower should be inside the stall. Thanks. He immediately leaves me to do my dirty work, literally, and I tend to be quick about it. I hastily disrobe and take a towel to cover my unmentionables, quickly pacing through each stall looking for an empty one. 2 of the stalls at the front seem to be occupied already, so I decide to just take the one next to it. As I get ready to go in, though, someone exits the stall directly next to me. Wait. A wet, dripping, and bulky wolf emerges from the sour's mist without a towel to cover his wetsits. Ah, that felt nice. Now where's that towel? Oswald and I lock gazes, both of us pausing to process what it is that we're currently witnessing. When it finally sinks in, our faces immediately turn red. God, don't look. The wolf stammers as he hastily covers up his nether regions in his arm. My legs suddenly feel like jelly, and I'm unable to move anywhere, let alone send me towards the stalls. That raccoon, he must have known this would happen. Oh, fuck me, wait. What are you standing there for? Get in. I can't. Then, just as I'm thinking that things couldn't get any worse, another pair of wet footsteps walk out of the other occupied stall. Yo, Oz, you said you needed. Oh, just kill me already. Get in the stall. Yes, sir. My body immediately reacts, and I quickly place myself inside the stall, finally feeling like I was starting to calm down. Man, what an absolute disaster. As if I didn't need to make things any more awkward between me and that hot-headed tiger. Not to mention any more hostile. I can still hear them talking outside. It's muffled though. Alright, I think I've calmed down enough. Time to do the one thing I came here for. I place my towel on the metal rack, then turn the center knob slowly. The shower begins flowing with a soft trickle of water. This way? I turn the right knob more. The water then becomes hotter and falls harder, with steam beginning to form. Nope, too hot. I hurriedly turned the right knob back, then began turning the left knob. The heat then suddenly turns into a chilling flow. God, cold sock. I continued to experiment with the water temperature, wanting to get it just right. After finding the perfect temperature, I proceed to rinse the rest of my body while letting my eyes wander to see where the shampoo is. After finally finding a rather small-sized bottle or a metal rack, I pick it up and check how much of its contents is left. It's already half empty. I guess someone else would tell me that it's also half full, but then again, it's not gonna get me any more shampoo. I squeeze the bluest white liquid as hard as I can, squirting it onto my palm in a satisfying swirl. After pouring out enough for my whole body, I put the bottle back down, turn the water off, then proceed to lather myself. I try to work my way around the bandit's ear. When I get there, after everything seems covered, I turn the water back on and rinse myself thoroughly from the tip of my ears to the tip of my toes. Good thing the bandit is hydrophobic, otherwise that would have posed some problems. There we go. After closing the shower, I look for the air dryer button out of instinct. My old apartment had it, and it was always a big help in drying off my fur instead of with just a towel afterward. To my disappointment, this stall didn't have any. I sighed resignation. I missed my old apartment already. Why did this even have to happen? I wrapped the towel around my waist, expecting my clothes to be where I left them. Instead, they're nowhere to be seen. Where am I? Huh? To my surprise, Oswald is still there, with the towel now wrapped around his waist, hiding all his manly glory. There seems to be some sort of hollow tattoo on his left arm. I'm surprised he has one, and so big, too. I was fully expecting him to be long gone at this point. He doesn't seem to be embarrassed anymore. Instead, he's sporting his usual demeanor. Are you okay? I hope what you saw didn't. It's fine, Oswald. Let's just forget it ever happened, okay? Adrian. Oswald trails off a bit, but quickly recomposes himself. Okay, maybe that's for the best. Oswald sighs before moving towards the exit. Your clothes are over there. I'll see you later, Adrian. Wait. Oswald looks at me expectantly, pulling his puppy eyes on me. Oswald, I just wanted to ask. Yeah. When are you going to train me? I asked, wanted to confirm what Benji said earlier. I'm actually not the one doing that today. But wait, then who's gonna do it? Benji will. I have to work at the bar today, so just try to have more patience with him, okay? Trust me, it'll be worth it. I pit my stomach forms just thinking about spending more time with Benji, but I guess I really have no say in it. Alright, if you say so. Oswald nods to me before leaving towards the hallway. I simply sigh as I check the clothes that Oswald left for me. Let's see here. The clothes are neatly folded with a note on top of it. What's this? Meet me in the training room. B. Oh, wait. I dry myself off with a towel, just enough to wear the clothes without getting them damp. I put on said clothes begrudgingly, knowing these came from Benji. To my surprise, they're actually a perfect fit. I wonder how the raccoon pulled that off. Well, time to get this over with. After finishing that whole fiasco, I tried to recompose myself before showing my face to Benji. I bet he planned for me to see their manly parts. At this point, I don't even know how he wants to end me. I'm debating which one's better, though, the bullet or by my own heat. Alright, calm down, Adrian. I'm supposed to look decent, not at all flustered. That'll probably just give him the satisfaction he wants. I take one deep breath before turning towards the training room, where I see the raccoon standing at the shooting edge. He isn't stationary on one of the rows, however. He's strafing from left to right, shooting vigorously at each target. It's quite impressive, even more impressive than how accurate Oswald was yesterday. Hey, Benji. No answer. He just gives a glance my way before shooting one more round through the rows. I sit down on one of the benches and proceed to just observe silently. To my surprise, even with how fast and loose he's being, all the rows are pinging bullseye. I'm left dumbfounded at how much skill that has to take, let alone how much brain power that has to consume. It's starting to make my head hurt, but I quickly snap back to reality when Benji looks my way. Your turn. What? I'm not going to have to drag you all the way here, am I? Oh, right, sorry. I stand up and quickly position myself as Benji grabs a pistol from the row in front of me. He hands it to me as I properly position myself. I look at it rather hesitantly. I never thought I'd ever have the need to handle firearms in my entire life. I look to Benji, who's giving me a rather judgmental look. Adrian, yes. Have you ever handled a gun before? No. Benji strokes his chin, thinking of something. Alright. Benji looks at me intently, removing his hand from his jacket's pockets. He sluggishly points towards the gun, creating a circling motion afterwards. First of all, get your finger off the trigger. You might accidentally pop someone's eye out. I look at my hand and quickly fumble to place my index finger somewhere else, almost dropping the gun in the process. But what? Just plant it on the barrel. The barrel. That long thing where the bullet gets shot out of. I do as I'm told, placing my finger on the barrel. So that's what it's called. I could hear Benji sigh under his breath. Alright, next thing. I continue to observe the gun when I hear a muffled thump onto one of the benches. I glance in the direction of the sound, only to see Benji standing there without his jacket on. Underneath is a tank top. Okay, he looks a lot leaner without it. Yeah, suppose that comes with being a thief, but still he's quite well built. I can see some semblance of muscle on his arms. Adrian, you drooling, huh? I wipe my muzzle off quickly to see if I am indeed slobbering. God, I thought I already grew past my dog slobber phase in high school. Okay, you're quite weird, Adrian. Oh, am I? Yes, but in a good way. Of course, salve those pebbly eyes. For now, it's the lifeblood of this group, after all. Benji then moves closer and positions himself behind me, seeming like he's observing every possible angle of my entire being. It was a little off-putting, like I'm being inspected for doing something wrong. Alright, now, for your student form. Got it. How did I do it? Before that, Benji clears his throat. How was the sour? I almost immediately choke on my own saliva and tense up. I start feeling flushed as blood rushes up to my head, making me sweat profusely. Oh geez, I bet I'm tomato red under all my fur right now, as I begin to feel my entire being shriveling up from embarrassment. Suddenly, a pair of hands firmly grasp my hips, holding me still. This stiff and tense feeling. Don't forget it when you get ready to shoot. Benji lets go of my hips after a few moments, then begins trailing his hands onto my shoulders. Keep these as relaxed as you can, though. Now raise the gun and aim at the target. I expect Benji to let go of my shoulders as I raise the gun, but he doesn't. Quite the opposite, actually. The more I raise my arms, the more he presses down on my shoulders, making my entire arm feel weird and weak. Like this, you're naturally tensing up. Of course, it's to be expected, but he quickly moves to my side before lightly smacking my back. Proper posture. You are a hunchback, so you have no excuse pressuring your diaphragm. Benji then moves in front of me, avoiding the path of the gunshot. He adjusts my arms further, then places a hand on my chest. It's a lot easier to shoot when you're breathing, steady. Try it. I do as he says, breathing in and out slowly. It becomes a lot more smooth the more I do it, and it feels rather relieving, making the remaining tension from my shoulders abate a bit. See, you get it. Yeah, sorta. Good. Next, Benji moves behind me again. Then, out of nowhere, he smacks my butt. But what the hell? Spread your legs a bit more. Keep them balanced. Else you'll topple over with bigger guns. You didn't really have to smack my ass like that. I try off while looking directly at Benji's straight, emotionless face. He doesn't seem to be kidding around with that. Now, this isn't going to make your aim better, but it's going to put as many odds into letting you line up your shots easier. Shooting with accuracy is a skill that takes time. Like all things, but utilizing these principles can weigh the gunfight more in your favor, got it? I just nod as I go down from nervousness. I feel like I'm about to puke with how weird this pose feels. Alright, now place your finger on the trigger and try to control the upward force from the recoil. I half-heartedly do so, hesitating to pull the trigger. I can't dawdle for long, though, especially with Benji watching me so intently. I pull the trigger, and I hear a muffled sob escaping the barrel and a bit of recoil surging through my body. Huh? Second base. Not bad for a first shot. You can tell? Yep, says right here. He points towards the panel next to the row, displaying a circle on the displaying a hole in the circle in between the smallest and second smallest circle. Oh, that's where my shot went? Essentially. I immediately try to loosen up when Benji grunts at me. Hey, who said you can relax? God, I thought we were done. Not until you empty that whole magazine. You aren't. Now get close to the center as possible. Yes, sir. Fuck, I said that other instinct. I never knew Benji could be this authoritarian. He never exuded that aura at all, as far as I've seen. I tried to replicate the form Benji taught me. Legs spread. Okay. Breathing. Clear. Shoulders relax. Okay, now, calm down. I managed to eventually empty the whole magazine each shot, taking me a few minutes to prepare before pulling the trigger, though. I could see in my peripherals that Benji was stifling a chuckle or two as he watched me, covering it up under his hand. All right, that's enough, Adrian. Thank God. I almost absent-mindedly flinged the gun back onto its previous position on the table, not even noticing how sweaty I've gotten. So much for that sour half an hour ago. We'll take a break for the rest of the day. We still have a week to go, though, so we'll have the opportunity to work on it some more. Do we still have to do this tomorrow? Not like you have any other plans at the moment, no. I've grown a bit more while sitting down, almost feeling like I might melt onto the bench when I hear footsteps from the entrance. Knock knock. Am I interrupted something? Oh, Oswald, you gonna open up shop now? I immediately stand to greet Oswald, finding he's not in his birthday suit. Instead, he's wearing the same kind of suit he wore in the bar. He must be done getting ready for work. Not yet, Benji. I think I forgot my deodorant and perfume somewhere. They aren't in my room. Oh dear, what a tragedy. I don't suppose you think that someone stole it? Oh geez, the raccoon's got thief jokes. Not funny, Benji. I know you wouldn't steal my crap, even if your life depended on it. I'm a supporter of natural sense, yes. Why would I want what people manufacture? Oswald gives the raccoon a rather disgusted look. I think he got the same idea that I did when Benji said that. Didn't land, huh? It's right next to the boxing ring. Benji looks at Oswald, then at me rather flippantly. I'll use vanilla extract. Thank you very much. Oswald comes back, 2 spray cans in hand. He seems to have already sprayed them on the way here. He has a distinct, rather strong smell of men's deodorant. You're no fun, Oz. Oswald nods with a smile, but his expression changes when he looks my way. He's wearing a rather guilty expression. Then his face contorts to annoyance when he looks back at Benji once more. I hope you're not overworking him, for your own sake. Kinda hard not to, especially with only a week's deadline to make him ready for the mission. Oswald briefly bares his teeth, making violent gestures in Benji's way. I'm taken aback at how protective Oswald is of me. I intervene for Benji's sake. It's okay, Oswald. I'll be fine. Besides, I kinda do need to keep up with you guys if I don't want to, you know? Oswald's clearly surprised, looking a little bit embarrassed as he slowly backs away. Oh, don't worry, Adrian. I'll make sure nothing happens to you. Don't worry, yeah. I happily nod at him, both of us blushing before Oswald excuses himself. Well, I have to open the bar now. Take care of him, Benji. I'm not his babysit. Why do I even bother? Oswald rustles back towards the entrance, leaving Benji and me alone. There he goes again. Benji seems rather exhausted after that interaction, much more than when he was training me. I swear that work could be a handful, especially because of Benji eyes me from head to toe. I awkwardly try to cover myself up, with his gaze just being so judging. It's nuts, he might as well be a scroll instead. Adrian, yeah, if we're gonna spend so much time together, I should definitely learn more about you. With me? What's so special with me? Maybe about why you wanted to join a DJ. Oh, that. It's just a really cheesy story. Benji changed the position, signaling how intently he's listening. I clear my throat as I slightly reposition myself as well, ready to tell this story. Well, I didn't really grow up in a normal family. How so? If I had to describe it, it would be, I guess, abusive. I don't really know. It wasn't like I was hit or anything. Oh, my parents, well, we lived in the countryside. Simple life, you know? You were only supposed to dream as big as the town you were raised in, and well, that was about as far as I could get with my parents. I immediately started to feel like tearing up. In an instant, I felt a gentle touch on my back. I looked at Benji, who was giving me an uncharacteristically concerned look. I was a big fan of music. Whenever I told my parents anything besides what they wanted for me, I kinda just ran for it. Soon high school came around, pretty gloomy, so I started sharing my playlist. People liked it, so I thought, hey, why don't I make my own music? Benji gives me an approving look before I continue with my story. I went to college with a friend named Dylan. He was and still is my biggest fan, if you could call him that. He was the last nail in the coffin for me to really strive for DJing, really connect with people, bring them together. I spotted a pacifist. But what? Benji refuses to continue, however, he instead eyes my bandaged ear. I'm sorry for grazing that. It's not a big deal. I also said it sort of healed by now. That's strange. I hate to say this, but let the cat check it out. Still heal you from the infirmary. You sure? Benji nods, helping me stand. He takes back his jacket and wears it once more, places his hands back into his pockets. I make my way to the infirmary, but Benji stops me midway. Adrian, wait, yeah, what is it? Tomorrow, when we train, I'll be less strict. Really? Why the change? You seem to respond better to that approach. Besides, I did say I wanted to get a closer look at you, and now I have. Okay, I'll see you later, then, Benji. I lead towards the infirmary, hoping to see Ellie soon. Maybe Oswald wrapped my bandage wrong, so it hasn't healed yet. I guess I'll find out soon. Meanwhile, Adrian, your only child, yet you remind me of him so much. How could someone who grew up in the dark have such an empathetic heart? I turn at the bend, the light in the infirmary illuminating the dim hallway. I survey the surroundings. No sign of life can be found. I sheepishly look around the nooks and crannies for Ellie, hoping that she has those cat-like invisibility powers all felines I've met seem to have. After a few minutes of searching, however, I still came up empty-handed. I do not need another workout today. This life will certainly need some getting used to. I resigned myself to sitting on one of the examination tables, just catching my breath. As I do so, the door opposite of me whirs before quietly opening up, with Ellie appearing from the room on the other side of a tray of beakers and flasks. Alright, that should all be this week's extracts. Now for the recent inventory check. She placed the tray under the cells without even taking notice of me. She seemed to be deep in thought, so I tried to gently catch her attention. Ellie, and then we could change the potassium chlorate for white phosphorus for the projectile grenades. Oh geez, look like being gentle isn't really going to nab her attention. Ellie, before the smoke trailers we could stick with a chlorate. Ellie, sweet light of Eden. She jolts upwards, her fur all bristled, guessing we're too far. Hi there. Oh, it's just you. Is there something you need? I noticed that she's still shivering from the sock, so I try to talk a bit more slowly than usual. It's about the bandage. The one on your ear. But that shouldn't be on for more than a few minutes. Did Oswald forget to trigger it? Oh, well, Edenite medical equipment works quite differently. Let me see here. She inches closer towards me and reaches out for the bandage, then begins to tickle it. Though the ear is covered, I can still feel her paw twirling across the surface. It starts making my ear twitch. But what are you doing? Agitating the bandage. It's made of a polymer that releases spores which then accelerate the healing process. Now please try to stay still. She continues to trace her finger across the bandage. Then I start feeling a lot chillier. At first it was as if a breeze started blowing at me. Then I felt my legs going numb. My hands then began tingling. My vision started to blur a bit too, with my head aching in tandem with it. Oh, alright. The blood flow will start coagulating in the area. So you might feel some imbalances. It should go away after a little bit. Her trailing stops, and the bandage begins to fall on its own. Its thread falls onto my muzzle, which Ellie quickly takes and crumbles before promptly disposing. She pulls herself closer to the wound and examines it thoroughly. Is it alright? It's healed, but what? I guess you just have to see for yourself. I blow out air and anxiety. I take out my phone and turn on its front camera to look. It seems fine, except at parts chipped off. It's just gone. What the hell? Why is it still chipped off? The bandage just accelerates the healing process, but it doesn't magically regenerate the body part itself. Oh fuck, everyone's gonna think I'm some sort of troublemaker if I keep getting shit like these. But well, Adrian, it is a bit unavoidable in this line of work. I grimace at the thought of more scars like these. I mean, Oswald gets shit like this and he comes out of it a sexy beast. But as for me, well, I'll sigh before facing Ellie once more. I guess it can't really be helped. Thanks, Ellie. No problem, Agent. She surprisingly becomes quite flustered at my gratitude. I guess she really is just easily flustered. I thought she was like that only towards Benji, but now it doesn't seem it's a specific thing. Then again, Benji constantly patronizing her on top of the constant antagonizing probably isn't helping either. Anyways, I stand from the examination table and start walking towards the exit. Going to go and see if I can. But wait. Ellie sheepishly stops me. Adrian, I require something that needs. Ellie trails off at the last few words into a mumble. Needs what? You know, easy. She continues to mumble to herself. I just stand there in confusion. Your measurements. My what? Well, just come with me, please. I hesitate to go with her, skeptical about the direction she's headed. She seems to be inching towards the lab, and a part of me just feels squeamish to go in there, especially because of the impression I got from Alice's warnings. Can you just get them here? Well, my scanning equipment is in there, so an awkward silence follows. I suppose I shouldn't be giving Ellie a hard time. Something tells me it'll be a lot more trouble than it's worth to upset Ellie. I sigh in resignation. Fine. Let's go into your lab, then. Ellie's face relaxes with relief. Alright, this way, please. Ellie meekly points towards the door she came from, which makes my uneasiness resurface. I try my best to stifle it as I follow her, constantly telling myself that this isn't going to be as bad as it's started to look. I wrap my arms gently around myself as the cat opens the doors and ushers me in. After the doors open, though, a surprising scent of fragrant flowers and other greenery overwhelms my nose. Yeah. Oh, I forgot that canines like you have a more acute sense of smell compared to others. Well, please allow you to acclimate to it. It is not the least bit harmful, I assure you. I just nod while rubbing my nose a bit. It feels like it's pollen season all over again. As soon as I enter, I immediately understand why so many varied scents are in the air. This entire place is filled to the brim with different kinds of plants in all shapes and sizes. Ellie trails some of the leaves that she passes by as she heads into the direction of a smaller room and examining a few of the flasks and other containers. I stand there extremely dumbfounded and just stare blankly at all the plants. So, Ellie? Wait a minute. Wait a moment. Just calibrating the systems. More silence, only broken by the rustling of leaves, the continuous whirring of the machines and occasional clinking of glass. Ellie passes by in quick bursts, taking a piece from a nearby leaf, then going some under the counters, then stores a beaker or two into a sealed container. It's quite a mesmerizing sight, kind of like watching Dylan mention drinks. I do wonder, how is he holding up? I'm gonna have to tell him that, for the most part, I'm doing alright. I'm just not sure if he knows all these going on in this place of work. Adrian, it's time for me to, my measurements. Yes, and for that you may have to. She stirs more, her face becoming more and more flushed. I raise an eyebrow at her, confused about what she wants me to do. Uh-huh. Strip. Oh, fucking hell, no way. Strip. You. Why do I have to be... I'm sorry. It's just that I just need to examine you in full. I try to hide my embarrassment, tugging at my clothes tightly, as if that'll prevent me from ever stripping in front of her. Ellie also seems to be shriveling up like me. She's definitely not comfortable with this either. I say once more, immediately understanding one thing. If we both want to get this over with, I just have to comply. Alright. Really? I begin to I begin to take off my shirt and pants. I try my best to expel every single embarrassing feeling off of my body as I slowly strip down to my underwear. To my surprise, Ellie seems unfazed by it, remaining as timid as she normally seems to be around me. She continues to wait expectantly to get onto my birthday suit and just have no choice on the matter whatsoever. Taking a deep breath, I take off my underwear and one swift motion, my seat in full view. Ugh. Alright, just wait, please. She ushers me onto a lit platform. I try to simmer my way through the tight space that is her lab. I've been covering my unmentionables with my paws, waves of embarrassment never ceasing to wash over me. Well, at least I don't stink, or else that's another thing I'd have to be embarrassed about. Alright, Adrian, stand straight and keep all your extremities within the square. The scan will begin soon. Okay. Ellie moves to the computer, typing in things I can barely see as she prepares the device. When she presses enter, the device lights up with multiple light sensors that pass over my body in quick succession, both in top to bottom and left to right motions. I try my best to stay as stiff and straight as possible, keeping my crotch out of her view, and before I even know it, the scan has finished. Alright, quiet average numbers. Average? Is he calling me average? Well, that just hurts my feelings indirectly. Oh, does that mean I can go now? Not yet. I still have to do my personal examination. Yo, what? Please calm down. It's only a physical exam. You don't have to worry. I falter a bit while Ellie takes out her stethoscope. She places the two earpieces in and begins pressing the diaphragm onto my chest. Normal heart rate. Good. That's weird. Ellie only gives me a passing glance before continuing to push onto my chest. Alright, please turn around. I'm not sure if I want to. Ellie doesn't hesitate. Instead, I hear her pressing a button and that spins the platform, revealing to her my backside. She presses down with the diaphragm again, but in a different location on my back this time. Now take a deep breath for me. I hesitantly do so. She's quick to take the stethoscope off after she's done. I turn my head to face her, feeling completely violated. Is it finally over? One more thing. Can you please take your hands off your seat? I gasped loudly. No way! I immediately curl up in an attempt to cover what's left of my dignity, to which she reacts by just staring at me wide-eyed. Agent, please just let me take a quick look. I just need a second or two. It'll be quick. I promise. I can't. Ellie sighs to herself. Just a glance, please. She looks at me with pleading eyes, and I do have to admit they're quite effective. I start actually feeling bad. I may be giving her too much of a hard time. She doesn't seem to be deriving any sort of pleasure or joy out of this entire experience any more than I am. Am I being too selfish? I begrudgingly do as she says, slowly, revealing my sleeve to her, just like she says. It took only a few seconds of glancing at it before signaling me to cover up again. See, just a quick glance, that's all. How many times do I have to do this? Ellie moves her bangs as she studies the results on her tablet, afterwards she looks back at me. It was merely to check if you're in good health and for the new year I'm tasked with preparing for you. She takes out some rolls of cloth and immediately something becomes familiar about them. Though I didn't take a hard look before, I'm pretty sure those are the same rolls that Benji had with him when I bumped into him. But aren't they on bad terms? Why would Benji do something that remotely involves Ellie? So many questions, yet so little time to answers. It seems to be the modus operandi around here, and it's starting to get annoying. Is that so? Yes, it's to make sure you're as comfortable as possible. I'm aware that you're quite uneasy in our base as is, so I simply... She trails off again. Seems like she doubts herself whether she's doing a good thing or not. She certainly reminds me of someone, a guy that Dylan would often scold back in college. Why am I beating around the bush about it? I know he was only setting me straight. I feel like I'd be more comfortable with him here. He knows me best after all. Uneasy, huh? I guess you could say that. Ellie notices that I'm deep in thought, so she clears her throat. Sorry, did I remind you or something? I stammer at her spot on assessment. You're quite observant. She places the rolls of cloth onto her desk, then takes a towel under it before handing it to me. Here you go. I'll let you change and cool down. You can leave afterwards. Thanks, Haley. I wrap the towel around my waist and grab my clothes. There's a room next to Ellie's lab where I can change. It's a lot smaller, so small that I think only Ellie and I can fit in here. I quickly put my clothes back on and leave the towel in the room. I leave the small room, but as I make my way towards the exit, I take a glance back in Ellie's direction. And part of me doesn't just want to leave. I'm not gonna let myself just go with their MO. I take a deep breath and approach Ellie. Adrian, hey, I said you were free to leave, so why aren't you? Her tone has a more curious tone than that of anger. She turns from her seat to fully face me as I take a seat next to hers. I just wanted to talk, you know. It's not like I have anything better to do. Ellie raises an eyebrow at me. Didn't you have some training to do with Benji, though? We already had. Actually, he sent me here after to have my ear fixed up. Ellie clicks her teeth, her hackles raising suspicion. That doesn't seem to sound like him. What do you mean? He did cause the injury in the first place, no? I'm taken back at Ellie's frankness. Well, yes. An awkward silence fills the room. I'm unsure what to say, and I don't feel like beating around the bush will progress this conversation anymore. Those rolls, they came from Benji, right? Ellie looks at them and starts getting flushed. Yes, what about it? I don't know. It kind of feels weird that he does that. Yet he says that he doesn't want to associate himself with you at all. Ellie's posture deflates, a deep sigh escaping her breath. I guess I was too direct. I'm sorry. No, you're right. He doesn't want anything to do with me. She clenches her fist on her lab coat. You're bothered by it, aren't you? She nods at me meekly before turning to her desk. I roll my chair next to hers and make eye contact. It's not the hate and disdain I'm bothered by, it's the reasons why. And raise my brow at her. Do you know why? She shakes her head. I gently touch her shoulder. Our eyes meeting for a bit. It's a mystery to me. All I know is that he only scowls at me and treats me like I'm a huge bother to him. Sometimes even simply breathing seems to offend him. Have you tried asking him about it? Huh? Well, the only way to find an answer to this mystery is to ask him yourself. If he can't give an answer, then he's hating on you without any logical reason, and he'll have to be confronted with that fact. If he does, then you'll know what's wrong and you can at least see if the problems are with you or with him. Ellie stares wide-eyed at me. Has he never really considered actually confronting Benji? I guess that makes sense. He doesn't know, or he doesn't seem to want to be in anyone's way. Right now, though, that's her biggest enemy. I don't know if I can, Adrian. He won't even let me see the light of day when it comes to socializing. I pull Ellie to face me, and she stiffens up as I do so. That's exactly why you have to confront him. I don't know Benji as well as you do, but I can sort of tell that he doesn't push twice. But what? If he pushes you and you stay down, that's the end of the line. But people who he pushes and they stand their ground, they seem to catch his attention longer than anything. Adrian, I don't know if she's still in doubt. I can understand that, but nothing's gonna happen if she stays like this. At the very least, she has to consider it. Come on, Adrian. I think. A friend once told me something that stuck with me ever since that point in my life. What? Regretting in silence is the creepiest feeling ever. Better let it all out than to let it keep bottled up inside. Is that so? Ellie thinks for a moment. She looks around aimlessly, clearly debating something. After a few moments of silence, she looks at me. I'll think about it, but I can't just ignore all the work and clutter I have in my lab. Then let me help you. That way you can focus on thinking. Adrian, why do you care so much? Oh, well, I think for a moment this has been mostly just my feelings overriding my judgment, but I'm already too deep into it to go back now. I've already committed to finding out the mysteries of this group and this whole situation, and if I had another person to help me solve those mysteries, best I take them. Think of it as a personal thing. If you say so, I won't pry if you don't want to say. Ellie takes a basket filled with flasks of chemicals and other liquids and hands it to me. First, I'll need these to be relocated to the infirmary. I'll tell you what you have to do next afterwards. I enthusiastically take the basket and start marching to the infirmary. Be careful it doesn't spill. Oh dear. Later that day. This would be the last thing that needs doing around here. Now to take a well-deserved break. I carefully place the last empty basket under Alice's counter and crash onto the lounge's sofa. Phew, that was a workout. Who knew she had so many baskets? I puff out a large exhale and I slowly sink into the soft foam so I can just take a nap right here. That is, if there wasn't some faint knocking coming from in front of me. I jolt upwards at the whiplash for the sudden movement, causing an imbalance of blood circulation, hitting me a bit hard afterwards. I take a moment to wait for my vision to return to normal, but as soon as it does, I see Oswald leaning on the doorframe, a smile plastered on his face. Oswald, hey there. I jump off the sofa to greet him, and as he looks at me with a smirk. I don't really know what's gotten into him. Well, I don't know what's gotten him in such a good mood, but I'm not that curious to ask either. He's here now, and that makes me feel a lot safer. So, how was the training, Adrian? Benji didn't give you a hard time, yeah? Training? Well, it was. Suddenly, a large figure appears behind Oswald and pushes him off the doorway. Oswald nearly crashes onto me, but he manages to stop himself midway. He then immediately gazes at the figure who turned out to be Max. Blocking away, Oz. Didn't have to sub me, though. Whatever. Besides, you might forget to tell the pup. A hit in your head might help jog your memory. Max then leaves in the direction of the hallway, disappearing into the bin. I look at Oswald questioningly. Tell me what? Oswald blinks at me for a moment before lighting up a realization. Oh yeah, I told Dylan about your situation. My situation? Oh. Yeah, I told him that you were alright and that you were barking with me. I give him a suspicious look. Wouldn't that be a bit concerning from his point of view? Oswald thinks for a moment. Maybe. He didn't seem to mind though. I see. Does Dylan know about all this? A gesture overwhelmed me. Slight surprise forms on Oswald's face from that question. He tugs his collar afterwards, exhaling a large puff of air. Not really. Well, not at all, I hope. Well, I guess that makes sense. Oswald places his paw on my shoulder. Don't worry, Adrian. The less people who know about this, the less people that'll be hurt because of us. That doesn't really ease my conscience. The wolf sighs as he lets go of me. I have a feeling it wouldn't. Just please stay strong for us, yeah? I take a deep breath, giving Oswald the best smile I can give. Alright, I will, for the team. Oswald nods, walking towards the towards the hallway to the rooms. I need to get changed. Talk to you later, yeah? I nod at him, and off he goes to his room. A little bit after he disappears from my view, Benji exits from the same hallway. Oh, Adrian, figures you're the first thing the wolf sees to have a grin like that plastered on his face. He walks towards me in a rather relaxed manner while sporting a mischievous smirk. I sit back down on the sofa and recompose myself before facing Benji. Hello to you too, Benji. What do you mean by a grin like that? Benji chuckles, crosses his arms as he strokes his chin. Well, you're quick to study, so I doubt you need my input to reach a verdict. Is that so? A second opinion wouldn't hurt. True, but I'm interested in a solo conclusion. I laugh Benji's remarks off because he's right. I am smart enough to know what he's insinuating. It feels a bit too convenient and weird that he's so happy around me. It doesn't help that that's the only lead I've got on the guy. Alright, I'll keep you posted. Only if I ask for it, of course. As Benji and I continue our playful banter, Alice walks in with Ellie. Alright, that makes 4. Where's the last 2? Back in their rooms, changing. She'll be here any minute now. Alice nods, tapping Ellie on the arm. The cat quickly walks to the corner opposite where Benji and I are. I wonder if she's done making up her mind. It's been a few hours since I asked her to think about it. Hey Benji, mind if I have a minute? Not all, darling. Yeah, just come with me. Of course. Benji turns to me. Why don't you keep her company? You're also a disappointing mess. I start from my slight annoyance at Benji and nod at him. He's really hell-bent on keeping Ellie at arm's length, huh? I walk towards Ellie, and she's clearly shaken by Benji's presence. I hope it doesn't affect her decision. Hey Ellie, you doing okay? Ellie looks at me briefly before recomposing herself by keeping her hands clasped still. I'm alright, Adrian. This is just my homeostatic reaction to his presence. What? Force a habit. Anything I can help to do? Or anything I can do to help? No, I just have to get used to it, then I'll be back to normal. Alright, let me know if you need anything, okay? I nod to her before turning to sit back on the couch, but the sound of her stuttering stops me. Adrian, yes? I haven't made a decision yet. I sigh inwardly. Ellie, it's okay. Just take your time. No point rushing something as important as this. Alright, as I continue to try and comfort Ellie. Max and Oswald arrive from changing clothes. Good, the whole team is here. What's up? Alice presses a button which reveals all the panels on her PC. It catches our attention, even more so as Alice claps her hands to actually catch our attention. Alright, gather around. Time for the team briefing. Benji's the first to take his seat cross-legged at that or a spare bar stool next to the couch. He takes that stool closer to Squint, positioning himself just in front of the couch. Ellie, on the other hand, takes a spare seat on the other end of the room. To the side, Max takes Ellie's original spot behind the two. Oswald pushes the couch to the center of the room, a clear view of everything Alice has presented on the screen. He crashes onto it, his weight causing the couch to scoot back a bit, but he doesn't seem to care. He just looks at me before tapping the space next to him. Thanks. Don't mention it. Alice clears her throat as she pulls out her keyboard. Now let's get started. Alice flashes several images of a large, extravagant building. I'm immediately able to recognize the kind of architecture and figure out that it's located somewhere in the uptown districts up in the hills. It's supported by tall, intricately carved pillars by the entrance with a large man-made tunnel opening just in front of it. There'll be a charity party that's gonna be hosted by the Eden Corps here. Apparently, it's their usual practice to bolster the monetary support from the uptown residents. It's gonna be held in the Uptown Community Center, where they'll be importing a data bank from Eden Island itself to attract the guests. Oswald leans forward a bit from the couch, dispersing the weight forward. Yep, we've made that clear. We also know that the data bank has some possible information regarding the next steps we'll take to take Eden Courts down. Right. However, that same data bank makes it extra hard to do long-range comms as well as infiltrating the community center. It keeps track of guests going in and out in real time thanks to all the patrols. Luckily, Benji got us a way in. The possibility was a bit far-fetched. At first, a contact of mine could convince the rear guard that we're staff and let us in. Adrian, however, changes that. After proposing a better course of action for the previous DJ, Adrian can fill that role instead. Once we're in, Adrian can be our surveillance as Alice's comms are offline once we're in. I start to shake a little at the realization of how vital I am to sell this whole alibi. The equipment that all three will need will be set just before the mission starts. I plan for most scenarios. The mission's also gonna take place on a work day. I'll make sure the bar's safe while you guys are wreaking havoc. Alice nods before turning to her desk and taking out a small device from a drawer. She tosses it to Benji, and the raccoon effortlessly catches it. Plug that into the data bank once you get there. It'll mine all that data and keep it safe until you get back to base. Alice turns back to the panels again, switching the images from the schematics of the building to 5 profiles. They all seem to have code names in place instead of actual names. Also, I got some bad news. Before last mission's comms went dark, the ruckus that we caused got the Omega Squad's attention. Omega Squad? What's that? It's Eden Corps Elite Task Force. I've got no leads to their actual identities, only some code names. However, one thing's clear: the reports I have say that they're all unlike any normal soldier in any military force on the planet. Each of them defying at least one of the natural ways of the world. Alice's grip tightens on her keyboard a bit, clicking her tongue as she lays each incomplete profile that she displays on the screens. They're all very dangerous, and at least one of them might very well be in a charity party. I've also heard that there's some hired muscle there too, and they're all packing heat. I hope that whatever happens at that party doesn't tip them off and cause a gunfight. Oswald, Benji, Adrian, be careful. Benji scoffs while lightly stroking his fur. I exhale with a second breath, unable to stifle my uneasiness from the whole mission now. Hired muscle and some enigmatic super soldiers? You gotta be kidding me. This will be fine. It's only some ritzy party. The dead banks probably in a storage facility of the center, and those pompous idiots aren't gonna set foot in that dingy place. Still, if anything goes wrong, we'll handle it. Oswald appears to say it to Alice, but his gaze is on me. Is he trying to reassure me? Right, let's get to it, Midnight Sun. Right, let's get to it, Midnight Sun. Everyone nods without hesitation. Ellie is the first to stand and return to her lab after the briefing. Alice returns to working on the panels, and Max stretches a bit after leaning on the corner for a while. Best rest early today. Still have some trying to do. Max turns to the hallway afterwards, leaving me with Oswald and Benji. Benji leaps off this bar stool, facing the two of us. Alright, you're taking over his hand-to-hand combat training tomorrow, right? I raise my eyebrow at Benji, looking at Oswald afterwards. Hand-to-hand combat? Keeping yourself skilled in both close and long range combat is the best way to keep yourself alive. Luckily, excelling in one can also do that, but that's all a case-by-case basis. Your skills are just one big wild card, you know. So, you're trying to see where I'm good at? Is that what you mean? Oswald nods enthusiastically at me, which is admittedly quite endearing. Suddenly, some wigging comes from Benji, the raccoon, also surprised by it as well. It's from Way. Hold on, let me answer this. Benji takes the call, leaving Oswald and I alone to talk a bit more. Oswald looks at me rather gently, his gaze neither too intrusive nor too aloof. He pats me on the back, fully grasping my attention in a heartbeat. Come on, Adrian, let's talk on the way. His other hand motions to the hallway, and I'm more than happy to oblige. Sure. We begin to walk, neither of us really attempting to break the silence so far. Oswald places his hands onto his pockets, relaxing and seemingly undisturbed, unlike me. I'm thinking of so many things right now, and it's starting to overwhelm me to the point that I can't even describe them, not even to myself. The mission in my life, the possibility of death, the people around me. It becomes a definite wigging in my mind, each footstep making me fall deeper and deeper into an anxiety-filled collapse. Then he speaks. Hey, Adrian. Yes, Oswald? I never asked how your day was while I was gone. How did it go? How was my day, huh? Well, I can pick a few things out from the day. Probably going to have to skip out on the sour, though, for obvious reasons. There was training with Benji, which was a mixed bag in itself. Then again, there was Ellie's exam to consider. Decisions. Training with Benji was okay for the most part. Is that so? Did you learn a lot? Just the basics. He let me shoot a few rounds, but that was it. Figures. Well, next time, if we ever get the chance, I'll train you myself and make sure you'll learn a lot more with a better shot. He winks at me while sporting a wide grin. Well, something tells me that Benji can easily prove him wrong. I'm not going to tell that to his face, though. I'll let him have his moment. We continue to talk a bit more, this time about his day in the bar. And like when I was there, I was mostly, well, it was mostly uneventful, and most of the DJs didn't seem to interest him either. While we continued to walk, a rather slender figure saw us pass between us, revealing itself to be Benji, coyly swishing his tail as he skips ahead of us rather flippantly. How about you lovebirds? Get a room. Benji chuckles before entering his room. His words linger in the air and cause me to become flustered. That raccoon never fails to get under my skin. Lovebirds. Adrian. Lovebirds. I can feel my face get red. This isn't good. Adrian, you're starting to heat up. Oswald places his paw on my shoulders, and I reflexively brush it away. I'm fine, let me just calm down. Oh, okay. I take a few moments to let my emotions die down with a few deep breaths. I start feeling better, though I can't seem to get rid of his words ringing in my ears. How embarrassing. Embarrassing. Sorry, Oswald. Benji's probably just trying to get under my skin. Oswald chuckles. Happens to the best of us. Right? Besides, us being lovebirds, a bit of a stretch, don't you agree? A few seconds pass, no response. I wait for a few more to pass, complete silence. You agree, right? Oswald's only response is a nervously chuckle while rubbing his nape. You swing that way? The wolf's the one to get flustered this time. You'd be surprised. What? Oh, this time you were... Yes, I do prefer the company of men more. I wasn't expecting this at all. All of a sudden, a swarm of questions fill my brain. I quickly switched gears to enter this whole rabbit hole I've just discovered. What? Since when? We want to go back and pick Ellie. You only get to do one choice. So I decided to go back and pick Ellie. We want to know more about her. Especially with how she gets treated by Benji. I had Ellie check on my ear earlier. Yeah, I was trying to ignore the chip. I'm glad that she was able to take care of it. Oswald sighs to himself, then averts his gaze from mine. But what's wrong, Oswald? Nothing, Adrian. At least it healed quickly, right? He grins widely before giving off a soft chuckle. All thanks to my bandaging skills, of course. So I tell him that Ellie was the one that activated the bandage. As he essentially did, well, all he essentially did was wrap my ear in a warm blanket, then again acting kind of cute. Yeah, I let it slide. Yeah, sure, Oswald. We continued to talk a bit more, this time about his day in the bar, and like when I was there, it was mostly uneventful, and most of the DJs didn't seem too interested in him. Didn't seem too interested in him either. Anyway. You swing that way? The wolf's the one to get flustered this time. You'd be surprised. What? All this time you were... Yes, I do prefer the company of men more. I wasn't expecting this at all. All of a sudden, a swarm of questions filled my brain, and I quickly switched gears to enter this rabbit hole I've just discovered. What? Since when? Instead of indulging the question, I absentmindedly blurted out. Oswald giggles while he opens his room door. I realize that I realized then that we both reached our bedrooms, much to my dismay. Now the wolf has an excuse to dodge my questions. Hey, good night, Adrian. Oswald, yeah. At this point, all I can do is laugh. Just what the heck is this coincidental yet stupidly infuriating cliffhanger? I swear, this is the kind of stuff that Dylan would enjoy out of good luck. I swear, this is the kind of stuff that Dylan would enjoy out of a good book. Now I have to live in it. Ugh. How frustrating to be kept in the dark. Yet this is quite the big step in solving the mystery that is Oswald. Maybe he has the hots for me? No. That can't be it. Why would he be interested in a guy like me? I guess I'll just think about it later. I entered my room and crashed onto the bed, raring to get to the next day. I've made decent progress learning from some of the people in this group, and I hope I get to learn more. What's this? I gotta stop right here. Alright, so we got to learn a lot more about, well, not a lot more, but we got to meet Ellie, and for some reason, Benzie yells at her and scolds her very hard to the point that she fears him. So I don't know if she messed up on something a while ago and he's been angry at her ever since, or maybe it's something about him, or maybe they had a thing or some kind of relationship in the past. Because I don't know why he would be so angry towards Ellie, and then when it comes to both Adrian and Oswald, he's casual, common casual, and always getting on your nerves. So I think there was one scene where they were having a little team meeting, and he pretended to be nice to Ellie only because somebody else was there. I think I saw that. So yeah, he's a whole different person when he's around Ellie, and I like what Adrian told her, that she has to put her foot down with him, and, just let him know that he's not going to treat her like this, and that's the only way he'll stop. So whatever issue he has with her, they'll have to talk it out, because it's not healthy at all. This him yelling at her and her being in fear of her and her being in fear of him is not healthy at all, and especially when they have to work together. So I hope Ellie takes Adrian's advice. And it was very obvious the whole time that Oswald had feelings for Adrian. I mean, he was very obvious about it, like how easy he was on him, and how I think his performance after he was DJing. After that's when Oswald started to become more kind to him, because he's very stern to him. Before that, he was expecting him to do well, and after he did do well, that's when he became more kinder and with him. And as time went on, he became even more kinder with him. Like, Agent wonders why he's being so kind with me. So, and just now, at the end, Agent wonders again why he's being so kind to him, and why would a guy with him want to be with a guy like me? I guess personality, Agent's personality, plus he seems to have some kind of innocence to him. That's just what I'll be thinking. So maybe those are the reasons why Oswald is so is so, I don't know about attached, but he has such an interest in Adrian. And he just revealed that he is gay. So yeah, he wasn't all that slick with it. He was pretty obvious a while ago. So there's this big event going on. You got people, all the rich people are going to be donating to the corporation Eden's corpse. He call it Eden's Reach, but it's Eden's corpse. Eden's Reach is the name of the story, but a bunch of rich people are going to be donating to Eden's corpse, and they got a bunch of security around, including these super soldiers who are guarding the event and making sure nothing goes wrong. So that's going to be pretty difficult for the team here, our team here, to get by. So I forgot what they were going in there specifically to do. I don't know, get some important information, or to kind of like prevent the donations from going through, I guess. I don't know, but I might have to reread it myself, or maybe in the next part we'll get to learn more about it. So that's what's going to be happening in less than a week from now. So they're gonna, this is the big test for Adrian. And apparently, by what Oswald said, Adrian's friend has no idea about any of this. Dylan, he has no idea about the fact that his boss runs a different operation. Like when he's not working as a nightclub, this is what he'd be doing. Like, he has a team of people who are trained for combat, and they fight a big, powerful organization. So Dylan has no idea about any of this, and the fact that Dylan doesn't know anything about this, but he lets a completely new person that he's only known for a short amount of time in on all this. It just shows, I guess Adrian impressed Oswald that much so soon that he would fill Adrian in on something he never filled Dylan on. I can't speak. Is for him to to fill Adrian in on this that he never did with Dylan with, Dylan's completely in the dark about this whole organized business, this whole combat business, combat team that Oswald has here, and Dylan's completely oblivious to it, yet he allows Adrian, somebody completely new to him in his life, join the team. So, don't know why. I don't know what's about Dylan that he wouldn't let him in on this whole missing stuff. I guess he didn't want everybody to Jordan Benson. But again, I don't know, there's something special about Adrian that he would let him in on all this right away and let him join the team. But Dylan, but not with Dylan. But anyway, we'll continue next time. Thank you all very much for watching. Bye.